Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is top amateur welterweight prospect in the world, Adam Thomson. Hello, Adam. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. How are you?
I'm good. And in February, you won your sixth pro fight against actually quite good and also like a much more experienced fighter than you. So, if you can tell me, how happy are you with this kind of performance and your sixth win?
Yeah, that was a good win. I had a few pullouts for that show. So the guys on the show worked really hard to find me another guy. Um, Taylor Rose, he's obviously had a lot of fights. He's the kind of guy who fights anyone. Very busy guy, active. So we're glad to get him in as a good challenge. Because it was looking like I wasn't going to have anyone, but he stepped up, kind of 2 weeks' notice, and gave a really good fight. Went 5 rounds, so I'm happy to get the experience in. These 5 round fights is what I'm looking for now.
And actually, you before you beat some like undefeated fighters or just like prospects, and I think that to win over this kind of veteran, because I believe that at that time he got 13 fights, it's also like super beneficial because this kind of veteran, they know some tricks how to win a
Yeah,
fight, how to be in a really good position. So in the end, I think that it is like important win.
yeah, definitely. You could tell he had a lot of fights. And he was very calm coming into the fight, very confident. He just kept walking forward. Really, it was hard to that kind of point. You need to accept that you're maybe going to be on the back foot. Just fight on the back foot. Fight smart. I was getting my takedowns and things. Um, the kind of guy, he was wanting me to just stand there and trade in the middle the whole time, but it's not always the smartest, especially with a boy like him.
And I think that right now you are one of the best like prospects, amateur prospects in UK, and you were scheduled to fight against a German fighter who also is like rising. He won I believe IMAF European
Mm.
Championship earlier this year. And if you can tell me what happened with this fight.
So this fight, I was really looking forward to this fight. He was 9-0, undefeated. I think he's like number one in Europe. So this was going to be a big fight for me. But just a couple of weeks ago, I fractured my orbital bone, so it's like your eye socket at the back here in sparring. It's just like one of these things. I was actually shooting for a takedown, and the other guy timed a perfect uppercut, just right in my eyeball. I knew straight away something wasn't right. I couldn't see anything, so it kind of ended up in the hospital that night. They just kind of scanned it and was like, "Yeah, your orbitals broke. It's like the floor of your eye socket." So it's kind of weird injury because once the bruising heals up, you can't see it, you can't feel it. So it's almost like you think you're not injured, but you are. It's something that'll, if you don't give it time to heal, you could just kind of prolong it. So things are going well. The recovery's going well. I've still got a little bit of vision issues when you're looking up, like when I look up the way or looking far away in a distance. But it takes a wee while to clear up, and then I'll be back. I'll be back training Monday. No, no sparring yet. uh, but thankfully, the guys at the Prom Promotions, they've rebooked this fight, so I will be fighting this guy on their next show, which is September the 5th, I think. So me and him will still be fighting. I'm sure he'll have another couple fights between then and now. I'm looking to get back in there, I think, at the end of June to defend one of my belts, the Rise and Conquer belt. So hopefully I'll get that fight, everything going well, and then we'll fight this German boy as soon as we can.
And do you think that this two fights will be like last fights that you will have as the amateur? Because in the end, when you defend your belt and then beat number one fighter in Europe, probably it's like it would be like a natural step to go pro.
Yeah, definitely. I certainly hope so. Anyway, this is the one of the reasons I really wanted to fight this guy because there's no one really like him in the UK. The kind of the pool of fighters in the UK is quite small, amateur. So once you get a few wins there, you beat a few guys, it gets harder and harder to get matched. But then at the same time, a lot of these amateur promotions, they're not making, they don't want to spend a lot of money flying a guy in for an amateur fight. But luckily, like let's say Chris Duncan and the guys at Prom Promotions, they'll do that for me. They're willing to fly someone in, fly his team in, to give me that chance to fight someone like that before I turn pro, which is obviously you can't ask for much more. So yeah, definitely once I get these next 2 3 fights, looking to fight this guy, um, then that'll be the next step, professional, 100%.
And recently you signed with like a Showtime Group, right?
Yeah, Showtime. So it's Lewis Simpson is the guy there I speak to. He also runs a show with Chris, the prom promotion show. Um, so I already kind of knew him. He's already kind of involved in a lot in Scottish MMA. So I wanted to sign with someone that I know and can have speak to on a personal level to help me kind of with the next steps of the career.
And actually, I think that this is a great group, and I think that actually, like APFC got like 2 years ago a show in UK. So maybe, or maybe they
Mm-hmm.
can in some in like few next fights book you in maybe like some US fights. So I think that it also can be like big for your exposure.
Yeah, definitely. He's got a lot of contacts, Showtime Group. So that's how it comes down to the end, especially at the start of your pro career. I want to get some fights in. I'm not getting any younger, so I'd like to get some fights in kind of back to back when I turn pro, getting that experience in. And if hopefully that means I can travel about around, not just also UK and Europe, even America, that'd be amazing. That's kind of the main reason we do this sports to get about, see the world, doing what we do.
And if you can tell me more about your team and like sparring partners that you have there, like if you can mention a few names and when did you get to the gym?
Yeah, so my main gym is called the Grip House. That's in Glasgow. So I got a good few guys there. I train with also my coach Dean Riley, my main training partner Fraser Patterson. He's just turned pro last year. He's fighting in Cage Warriors. He's like amazing. He's every aspect of his game is insane. He gives me the kind of hardest rounds. He's also middleweight as well, so he can push me in all aspects. And my main other training partner would be Chris Duncan. Also, everyone knows if you know MMA, you know Chris Duncan. I've been training for years, mainly after the whole COVID thing. I went back to training, kind of took it more seriously, and that's when I started getting more sessions in with him. Kind of took me under his wing, showed me a lot. I mean, when I first started, I was terrible in every aspect of fighting. But then I think most people are. So I just kept chipping away, and I think the main important part is when you have someone like that to train with. You just got to turn up. And if they ask you to train, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. You just fucking cancel it and go train with them. Because especially at the start, when you're training with someone of that level, I'm not really offering them anything. I'm the one that's learning everything and getting the most out of that session. So you've got to be willing to just turn up, um, when you get the chance. And also Robert Whiteford, he was someone, the first guy, Scottish guy to get into the UFC. He's been massive for Chris's career. Obviously, been training with him for years, and now I've started to kind of been brought in. I can train with him. Um, he's also an amazing coach. He's a tough coach. If you do something wrong, he'll be on your case. But he's only doing that because he wants to see you do well. Um, but that's also a lot. I've got a lot of other guys at the Grip House as well. They're my main guys. In Scotland, there's not many gyms, so you've kind of got to go around to get your training partners. There's a lot of jiu-jitsu gyms you can go to just to pick up extra rounds. But yeah,
So you definitely mentioned like the biggest names in like Scottish
mm,
MMA. So it's probably no names, no fighters better to like take the knowledge from.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's we because not only like with Chris as well, obviously so good for training, but also the whole game of MMA. He knows everything. He's been there and done that now. He's already got to the high. So just to guide you, just with other things like when it comes to your social media or sponsors, there are things that I slack on. I'm trying to up now, because that's a big part of the game. Like unfortunately, it doesn't matter how good you are at fighting now. You've got to be almost like a, have a personality, have a following. That's what's going to help you get in to the bigger promotions.
Yes, and actually, I'm not sure if you will watch like UFC cards and like know the fighters, but in last few days, the biggest, probably like the most watched fighter is like Josh Hawkett, who is doing
Yeah,
some kind of crazy things, and I think that
yeah,
you can like it or don't, but in the end, he's definitely the most talk about fighter in like last few days. So it's maybe it is kind of crazy, but
yeah.
it is what it is.
Well, I mean, with that Josh Hokett guy, uh, literally, I mean, every time I open my Instagram up the past few days, obviously they're fighting this weekend. That's all I see. This guy, and he's just chatting absolute shit. I don't know what he's doing, but his face is everywhere. So that's how it goes.
But actually, he's a like a really good heavyweight prospect. So outside of this kind
Yeah,
of like persona, let's say, or gimmick, he's a really good fighter. Uh,
yeah, he's definitely. I've seen this. I think it was on Contender Series. I think he got into UFC. I'm sure I watched that. Um, he's odd, he looks like a small heavyweight, but he's fast on his feet. Yeah, I'm sure he'll do well. And I mean, he's already got quite a big name to fight, so he's probably, because he has such a big personality, they'll push him faster. They'll give him these bigger fights.
and getting back to your career, because sometimes when I talk to like amateur prospects, sometimes they says that they don't have like training camps, so not 6 or 8 weeks, but they are in the like training room all the time. And for you,
Mm.
do you have something like specific training camp for the fighter, or are you all the time in the gym and it's like the same for you? You train all the time.
But just I train all the time. I don't really change much in my training, and this has been the longest I've kind of been off training the past couple of weeks. Having to kind of watch what I do, but always training. The main thing I think when you do get a fight now, um, you have an opponent. Since everything's on the internet now, you can watch your opponent now. That's, I think, the main difference between now and when it first started. And my coach is really, I don't really like. Well, I'm a bit lazy when it comes to watching other people fight. So the only thing that really changes is my coach will watch my opponent's fights, and he's really good at breaking down fights, seeing areas we can expose, and then he'll just say to me, we'll lean more towards this stuff in training. We'll try to implement this stuff, and have a general game plan. But nothing. Don't change. I would never change everything I'm doing to fit someone else, because then you're kind of, you should just go in and do what you're doing. Don't worry about what they're doing. But to a certain level, if we know we're fighting a grappler, or we can, or we know, like, I fought a guy, Matthew McLeod. He was another Scottish boy. I've fought him a couple of fights ago, and we knew he really likes certain, like, single legs. So I drill defense for that. I mean, it still got me wet, but I was managed to get back up to my feet. So yeah, it'd just be specific areas like that. Or if you know a guy's coming out, he's just always throwing a jab, then you can work on, slipping a jab, overhand right, stuff like that. Just little aspects to change.
And right now, when you can't like really train, are you like hungry to get back to the gym, or you treat it like okay, this will be just a little bit break. It's not a problem, and I will wait. Or you are like super anxious to be back.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first week I was like, oh, it's like a holiday, just not doing much. But then the second week you're starting to get, I'm anxious to get back now. You just feel like you're burning light. You're not really doing much. And like I said at the start, almost feels like I'm not injured, but then I know I am. Um, so I'm looking forward to getting back training next week. Um, just to ease back in. But everyone know that, like, most fighters will tell you, if you have been injured, it takes a couple of weeks to get back into it, but then you hit the ground running. Um, you don't. It's like riding a bike. You don't really forget how to ride a bike. You just get back to it.
Okay, Adam. So many thanks for the time and for conversation. Of course, I hope that everything will be okay with your health, and you will be back with two more fights,
Of course.
like quite soon you will go pro.
Yeah, well, definitely aiming for end of June back in the cage. I think that'd be perfect for me. Um, Maybe I'll wrestle that fight so I don't get punched as much in the face to save the eye. But yeah, I'm confident I'll be back in there soon.